Hello, everybody. Welcome to another BSides Orlando pre-show. We have wanted to do this for a while where we take some time to talk through some of the cool stuff that we're working on and the people that are involved and really show you all the events and things that are going to happen and talk about all the wonderful things that are coming. So this is the second pre-show that we've had for BSides Orlando. And again, just as a quick reminder, BSides Orlando, again, November 6th and 7th. The 6th is all day, is training. It is all virtual. And the 7th is our conference talks. Our speakers are up live now at bsidesorlando.org. So you can see the speakers. You can see when their talks are, what their talks are. We have an amazing lineup. And today we're going to talk about our workshops. And specifically, we're going to be talking to Sunny Weir, who's going to be running our Burp Suite Workshop. She's got 2 sessions of this running to help you understand Burp Suite, to help you really get an idea of application or web application penetration testing. So with no further ado here, I am going to bring Sunny into the stream here. And Sunny, how are you today?
Hi, Ian. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Wonderful. So again, thank you for joining us at BSides Orlando. This is going to be, I think, definitely your second year back. So really appreciate it. So let's.
I'm honored to be invited back. Thank you.
Oh, wonderful, excellent. So let's chat a little bit about the workshop. So it's a Burp Suite workshop, but you do these workshops, but you do so many other things as well. You write books. You've got Pluralsight courses. Tell us a little bit about the book. The book is it's the Burp Suite cookbook. Tell me about the book and how you got started on that.
So I was approached while I was working on my doctoral program to write a book about Burp Suite. A lot of that was based on the courses that I did for Pluralsight, as well as I have a YouTube channel that's got some Burp Suite stuff. I wouldn't recommend writing a book while you're working on a doctorate, but anyway, it seemed to work out well. I very much enjoyed that. It steps you through doing a lot of OWASP test cases. So if you needed to know how to perform session hijacking or SSRF, server-side request forgery, I've got some advanced topics towards the end of the book, but basically it's set up for beginners to get them more comfortable with Burp Suite and understanding how to use that as a very powerful tool in their web penetration testing.
Nice. Okay, and you mentioned that YouTube channel as well. Do you cover those same kind of topics there, and how often are you posting over there?
Unfortunately, I haven't been posting recently, but I hope to change that. I've obviously been working on my degree and things like that, which I finished last year. So
I didn't realize it was that recently. Congratulations! I honestly thought you just had it for years. So I was like, of course, Sunny's a doctor. Why wouldn't she be? That's wonderful.
Thank you.
What was your? I mean, it was a cybersecurity degree, but what was the degree in?
Well, I did my dissertation on DevOps, security inside of DevOps,
Wow.
and the integration of that. The focus was more than just penetration testing. It was application security as well.
Oh, so yeah. So no, you are eminently qualified to speak on this particular topic. I would say. So that's awesome. So yeah, for those who are listening or those who are watching later, we put the Burp Suite cookbook and the YouTube channel in there. You also have some Pluralsight courses, 3 of them. What are the 3 courses?
So there's the Burp Suite beginners, then there's an intermediate, and then there's a very advanced course that I wrote on writing Burp Suite plugins and macros.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when you start really getting into using the tool to its utmost. It supports 3 languages, Java, Python, and Ruby. And so if you needed Burp Suite to do something very special, very niche, that in the way that you do penetration testing, you would look at that course to help you.
Oh, nice. That's wonderful. So you've got, and that really kind of leads us into this workshop because we were discussing before this and on another call, this workshop that you're doing at BSides. It focuses on Burp Suite, but um, tell us about what the students can expect to learn. Like, what is it? A beginner's course? Is it, what can they expect?
So I'm going to be covering a wide variety of different topics that can appeal to a range of varying levels. So if you're a
Hmm.
beginner and you want to become more comfortable with Burp Suite, this is definitely going to help you, the workshop,
Hmm.
because I'm going to step you through how to configure Burp. This is really important, especially with some of the new interface changes. There are some gotchas there, and I want to make sure that whether you're a beginner or have been pen testing for quite a while, that you're aware of some of these new changes. Also, some of the new functionality that's made available in one of the tabs. I'm going to go through that in a little demo here in just a moment.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, no, looking forward to that. So you'd say this workshop is for folks that are entry level. Like, what do they need to know before they show up? Anything that would help?
Well, obviously, a strong interest in learning web application penetration testing.
Hmm.
Your enthusiasm means a lot.
Okay.
Beyond that, you're obviously beyond just having your laptop, you're going to need two things, two
Hmm.
pieces of software. Burp Suite Community or Professional if you've already purchased it. I will be using Professional in the class. In the
Hmm.
demo I'm about to do, though, I'll just show Community since that's the most easily accessible to everyone.
Okay.
And then the other piece of software that you'll need is OWASP Broken Web Application VM.
Mm.
So it's a free VM. You can download it and install it on, Oracle VirtualBox or the VM workstation. And that has a bunch of different vulnerable web applications that we can use Burp against in order to attack.
Wonderful. Yeah, no. For those who aren't familiar, the OWASP broken web apps, that OVA is fantastic. I use it in some courses that I teach because it's great. So it sounds like all they really need is a healthy curiosity, some good understanding of basic kind of computer usage, and VirtualBox and this OVA and the community edition of Burp Suite. So okay, so it sounds like that's a pretty easy bar of entry for most folks. If you've got a decently powered laptop, you should be okay. So, all right. So, a couple more questions. Then I will really want to see that demo. Um, you mentioned that there's been, you've got these classes built out. You also told me you've moved to Google Classroom, where in Google Classroom you've got some different stuff set up where you can have your materials, your additional information, things like that. And actually, for those of you who are watching live, we actually lost Sunny just now. I was hoping she would come back while I was going on. I have no comedy bits. I have no whatnot. But what we can say while we're doing this, let's talk a little bit more about. There, she's back. I was tap dancing for a minute.
I'm
I was
so
like, it's
sorry.
perfectly fine. I was like, I have no comedy bits. I have no tap dancing. I kind of tried to stretch it a little bit, going, let's see if she reconnects before.
I apologize. I
Oh,
hit
you're
the
okay.
wrong button. So
It is an interesting world we live in right now, and we're now all trying to run our own audio video studios from our house. It is not a problem. So okay, so tell us a bit. You set up. I'm really excited about this part. You started to set up an online kind of training classroom. So you're using Google Classrooms. So tell us a bit about that and what the experience is going to be like for the students.
right. So each student will be required to have a Gmail account,
Okay.
and when they sign up for the class, they're going to get an invite to that Google Classroom, and it's going to have all the materials there, so they can download the slides. They'll basically have everything at their fingertips. There'll be an agenda with links there on one page, so you can click through. You can see each module that we go through. You can see all the assignments. I will not actually be broadcasting from the Google Classroom. We're going to be broadcasting a different way. but all of the material for the class will
Mhm.
be available online.
Wonderful. Okay, so that's great. I know that's a big deal, and I'm really impressed with the fact that you've been able to migrate that class that way because I know you've been doing it on premise, and I think that's great. You're going to be able to reach a lot more people and build that out. It's really cool. So we've talked about the little demo there, and previously you let me know that hey, there's some changes to Burp, some stuff that's people might want to know about. So why don't you share your screen and
Okay.
why don't you tell us a little bit about the changes and what people can expect?
Absolutely. So let me just get this going. Okay, so can you
Wonderful.
see my screen?
We sure can.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open Burp Community Edition. And one thing you'll notice, and I will answer your question, Ian.
Hmm.
I just wanted to step through this just in
Please do.
case people are like brand new to this.
Absolutely.
So when you download the community edition, you only have access to a temporary project, but that's okay. That's going to get you through, and you'll be able to do all of the exercises in the class just with this. We're going to go with the default settings right now, but this does enable you to load customized settings later. So one of the things, and I'm just going to make this widescreen for right now,
Hmm.
one of the things that you'll notice in what I'm calling the new version of Burp, that it was originally called Burp 2.0, but now Portswigger has gone with a date, a year dot major minor version number.
Okay.
And you can see that up here, if you can see my cursor moving back and forth. So really anything that has version 2 or then version 2019, 2020, that's the new version. And the one telltale sign to let you know you're using the new version is you're going to see this dashboard tab. So this dashboard is like the newest feature.
Okay.
Also, in the old version of Burp, they had separate tabs for Scanner and Spider. And what they've done is they've integrated the functions are still there, but what they've done is they've integrated it into these scan and live task buttons up here. So
Hmm.
kind of go into that more in the class because I can be able to show you scanner ability inside of the professional version.
So help me understand. So the dashboard, this new feature. The core thing is you can have tasks running. What's the major benefit if you're doing application pen testing?
So the tasks act as little workers for you,
Hmm.
and they're really nice because I'm actually going to show you one right now.
Wonderful.
But what you can do is now in the, of course, we only have these few defined tasks here in the community edition. But what you can do is you can set up a crawler and specify which particular tools you want that crawler to run through. So generally when I do my pen testing, I only set it for proxy because I'm constantly having traffic go through proxy.
Hmm.
But what you can do is you can set like a predefined task of, okay, it's not setting it right now because I don't have a target, but I'm going
Hmm.
to make a target in just a moment. But I can say, okay, I want you to crawl, Burp, I want you to crawl all links that are observed in traffic through my proxy, and I want you to set them in my sitemap, right? And then you can specify the URL scope, and we're going to set up a custom scope. You can also configure a dedupe feature, which won't repeat the same types of items that have already been crawled for you. In this particular instance, we're talking about crawling. So what I'd like to do, Ian, if you don't mind, is oh, and so the whole idea of the task, let me just complete the thought. The
Hmm.
whole idea of the tasks is that you sort of have this running in the background, You can check the status of these items, so there'll be multiple tasks that you can have running at the same time. You can pause them if you like. You can disable them if you like. But it's a way to sort of have one pane of glass to look at your target from various points of view, and you can set different configurations for what you would like to have scanned.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's cool. So you might have different kind of profiles, for lack of a better term, say I'm looking for these things and kind of look at them from different directions. Is that
Right.
a good way of thinking about it?
It is.
Okay.
And in the configuration library, so what I just did, just so that you see what I just did, I went to the Burp menu, and there's a configuration library here. So
Mm-hmm.
what Burp does is it provides you a lot of built-in configurations that you can use inside of those tasks. And now I also have some custom ones. You can see they've all got my name there. So you can basically figure out, you can basically customize or run multiple types of configurations based on whatever it is that you would like to be scanning or crawling. So
Very cool.
lots of possibilities here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to close that. Now, I just wanted to mention this right-hand side here. This is a preview of what's available in the professional version.
Mm-hmm.
These are just some static findings that they put here to give you an idea of what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and close this for now, just so that I have more room.
Mm-hmm.
Another cool feature that they've added, I'm skinning this up so that I can show you this, is if you go to the proxy tab. Ian, I don't know if you've ever done this before, but have you ever had to configure your browser to talk to Burp Suite?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Right,
Foxy Proxy and a couple others. Absolutely.
right. So it's a lot. It's a lot to set all that up. Well,
Mm-hmm.
what ForceWigger has done is they now have a built-in browser for you.
Oh,
And what this browser does is it already pre-configures the certificate inside of the browser, that burp certificate that you have to set as a trusted authority. It's
nice.
already done for you. So what I'm going to do in order to demonstrate this is I'm going to go to a website that is meant for web hacking, if you
Mm-hmm.
like. And it's running over HTTPS. It's called demotestfire.net. And I want to just illustrate this idea that I didn't have to do anything to this browser. And all of a sudden, I've already got my HTTPS traffic flowing through into Burp. So that's really nice. I don't have to
That
configure
is
that
very
anymore.
convenient.
Now, what I also would like to do is I'd like to show you how you can set up your scope. So I've
Mm-hmm.
gone against the root of the application. I'm going to right click and copy this URL. Let's come over to the scope tab. Now, a lot of people, usually when they set the scope, they might just right click and add to scope, which
Mm-hmm.
is perfectly fine. But as you get deeper into your web application pen testing, you're going to want more control over features,
Mm.
especially specific to your target. So what I like to do is use this advanced scope control. So remember how I pasted the URL onto the clipboard?
Right.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to paste that, or I copied it, I'm sorry. I copied it onto my clipboard. Now I'm going to paste that into here. Now I'm going to get prompted here, and it says you've added an item to the target scope. Do you want to stop sending out of scope items to the history? Most of the time, people are probably going to say yes. We're going to say yes in this case, but I just want to make a caveat. When you're doing an assessment, you may want to say no. The reason why you may want to say no is because a lot of applications these days have more than one URL that they call out to. They'll make a lot of AJAX calls, maybe to an API, or maybe to a site that they've attached to, if you will. In a lot of cases, if you've got mergers and acquisitions, you might have sort of a site that is made up of two sites. What used to be two sites now looks like one. So it's important that you capture all of those different targets into your scope, and realize, they're part of the assessment as well. So for right now, we're going to say yes. Now, here comes the cool thing about using the advanced target. What I can do is I can edit this, and I can change the protocol to any. And I'm also going to wipe out this 443. So what this does is it basically helps me to find, as I'm clicking through the application, if there might be any URLs that are running over HTTP, which means they don't have like their HTTP transport security header set, or so they could possibly run into SSL stripping attack and things like that. So we've got all that set up now. So I'm very happy with that. Now let's go back to my target sitemap. And what I want to do is, and you see how, remember when we said, yes, we don't want out of scope traffic being captured in the history. So Burp is reminding us of that right here. And if we ever wanted to change our mind, we could just click this button, and then we would start getting everything. So
okay, so that so for people who might watch this, the scope options there, what you really did was tell Burp, don't just focus on what I told you to focus on, the HTTPS page that I went to. You actually, it's almost counterintuitive. You said you want to include this, include everything, even though it's beyond what's being presented.
Correct, exactly.
Right.
And what I want to do is, so let's, just to illustrate the point, there is an HTTP version of the demo testfire.net. Okay, so now if I go to my sitemap, you can see I've got both. I've got both in here. And if I clean up my sitemap, let's go ahead and do that next. People may not realize, but where it says filter here, this is actually a ribbon that you can click, and it brings down this curtain. Now, your settings here, they mean everything, because this is the visibility that you have into your target, and it's placed in one spot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just have only the in-scope items shown, but the MIME types, I want to see everything, okay? I want to see if there's scripts, if there's a whole folder of JavaScript. I want to see the cascading style sheets, because I want to know, well, do they use absolute pathing? Do they use relative pathing? Are they susceptible to some sort of CSS injection attack? I want to see all of this stuff. The other thing is, you always want to see 400 status codes. So this is one of those things where, if, by coming to the workshop and you're going to realize that there's so many features that Burp has, and sometimes you just have to know how to turn the knob on, right, to be able to see these things. So now if you click outside of this curtain, you can now see that those two sites are in my sitemap. So what I like to do is I like to expand the branch just so that I can see everything that Burp has touched. So what you see in gray, Burp basically saw it as a link, or didn't actually send a full request and didn't receive a response. Didn't send a full request or receive a response. And so that's why things are in gray. If something is in black, that means there is both a request and a response. So that takes us to this part. I also wanted to just kind of show you there are these different formats now that you can choose for viewing your message editor. So you can set things side by side if you like, or you can set them one on top of the other, or you can set it like this, which is probably more the way that people are used to seeing the information.
Wonderful.
Now, one last thing I wanted to show
Hmm.
is just going back to that dashboard. So if I wanted to create a task here, I can set that up. Now I could use Sweet Scope because that would be what I have set. I could also use custom scope here, which I've already got that set. I could add another item if I wanted to. That's sort of the difference between the site scope and the custom scope is just if you wanted to add something at the last minute. We'll go ahead and click our dedupe. Now let's go to the scan configuration. You can see that there's something already here, and that's based on the fact that I selected this from the dropdown. So that's where that came from. But obviously you could select more items from the library, especially if you had professional. And that was the library I had shown earlier. The resource pool, they set 10 threads for you for Burp to run against the application. You can create your own if you want. Sometimes you might be in a situation where you have to be very careful. Maybe you're running in a production environment and you don't want to tip off the IDS or IPS devices, so you could slow down, you could put a delay between your threads and things like that. For our purposes, we're just going to go with the default. So I'm going to click OK and click OK. And oh, that should get me going.
All the okays.
All the OKs. And did I not pick a tool? I had that. I have that. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start making some traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see 4 responses have been processed. Let me come over here. I'll just start clicking some things.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see as I'm producing,
to go through it. Yeah.
yeah, so as and let me clean this up here to only show in scope items. So as I'm clicking things and producing traffic inside of the HTTP history table, my dashboard is running as well.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
No, these are all fantastic. I mean, and what I love about this is it really feels like to me that you've put together a class that somebody who maybe they've been like, oh, I really want to try this stuff out, and I really want to try this stuff out, but I just there's this slight barrier of entry, right? Where I just wish I could sit down with somebody who really knew what they were doing and kind of walk me through this. And it sounds like that's really the kind of the nature of your course.
Yes. I want to make people feel comfortable. I know there's a lot of people out there that maybe they were focused on, maybe they're new to cybersecurity, or maybe they were focused on network penetration testing and they would like to kind of go to the other side and try more web out.
Mm-hmm.
I want all of those people to feel comfortable to come to the class and ask their questions and just realize how cool Burp Suite is. It's like my favorite thing. And I want people to be able to use it to its most powerful ability.
Wonderful. No, and thank you for taking the time to really talk to us about the workshop that you're running. I really hope that the folks that see this, get a chance to come and really go through that. There is a morning and an evening, or morning and an afternoon session, I should say, on November 6th. There's a link up right now, and also in the comments section for YouTube Live to go get tickets. We are seeing the workshop start to get more and more tickets in there. I know it's a month out, and you say, "Oh no, it's fine." You really want to get in there now, because these are incredibly affordable workshops from fantastic instructors like we have with Dr. Sunny Weir here. So Dr. Sunny Weir, thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you virtually again on the 6th, and you just have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome. All right, everyone. So everyone who got a chance to join, thank you for joining. Thank you for spending some time with us learning about what the Burp Suite Workshop is going to be. Again, November 6th and 7th. Get your tickets now. More surprises coming up to and including tomorrow. We are going to have another one of these where we are going to be talking to Kathleen Smith. She is the maven. She is the absolute best when it comes to running the Career Hacking Village. You've seen her at BSides Las Vegas. You've probably seen her at every single conference you've ever been to, and frankly is just an amazing person. And we're going to talk to her tomorrow about the Career Hacking Village that'll be hosted at BSides Orlando, how you can get your resume reviewed, how you can talk to career coaches, the talks that they're bringing. So we're not just trying to help you with buffing up your technical skills. Kathleen's going to come and talk to us about how you buff up your career skills as well. So again, thank you for joining us. I'm Ian Meyer. We hope to see you virtually on November 6th and 7th. And make sure you check out our Discord as well and get registered today. So again, thank you, be well, and have a great evening.